Okay, I would like to begin this session of the Board of Revision by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Mark Boreski. I am the chair of the panel today, and I am the chair of the Board of Revision. With me today on the panel are Narinder Paul Danjal, Lynn Nesbitt. Our assessor today is Nathan Kupfer, and our secretary is Belen Rojo. We have several items on the agenda. The first ones have been withdrawn, and we will proceed with the ones that are still on our docket. To the participants of the hearing, please note you're placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it in the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. So, on our docket today, we are beginning with item number 7. We will momentarily jump over item number 6, and we will begin with number 7, which is 8 Gullwing Bay. And could I have the swearing in of the parties?
Yes. Mr. Applicant, Assessor, please state your full name.
Nathan Kupfer.
And you affirm the evidence you present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Madam Applicant, will you please state your full name? Yeah. And you affirm the evidence you present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Mr. Applicant, state your full name.
Yes, James Ian Wallace.
And you affirm the evidence you present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Kupfer, when you are ready, could we have your evidence?
Okay, so the subject property, number 8 Gullwing Bay, roll number 0600407800. It's in the Island Lakes neighborhood area. It's a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1994 with 1,492 square feet of living area, full basement with basement finish, central air conditioning, one fireplace, an attached double garage, and a lot size of 7,463 square feet. All four comparables are in the Island Lakes area. They're all one-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1991 and 1997. Living area ranging from a low of 1,313 square feet to a high of 1,536 square feet. All have 3 bathrooms. All have air conditioning and 1 fireplace and a similar attached multi-garage. Lot sizes are a little bit smaller, ranging from a low of 5,028 square feet to a high of 6,529 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 383,900 to a high of 413,700, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $249.93 to a high of $307.77. Page 2 of my brief here is just a map of the area showing the proximity of the comparables to the subject. Everything's pretty close by in the same area. No major influences to note that I'm aware of. The 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $460,000 or $308.31 per square foot. I would note that based on the comparables I've reviewed, I think our assessment is too high at $460,000. However, I don't have a lot of information about the property at this time, as we don't have any permit information or photos or anything to go off of. So I won't make a recommendation yet, but I think I will be recommending a reduced value after speaking to the homeowner. Thank you.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I'm having trouble hearing you.
I said I believe our assessment of $460,000 is probably too high, but I don't have a lot of information yet about the home. So I'll hold off on making a recommendation at this time until we get a chance to hear from the homeowner.
All right.
Thank you.
So now you have an opportunity to ask the assessor questions about the information that he has presented. You can give us your evidence about your property afterwards, but this is just to clarify anything that he has said. Do you have any questions about the info that he provided here?
No. It's straightforward.
All right. Mr. Danjal, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Not at this point. Everything's clear so far.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Just about your comparables, Mr. Kupfer, there's a bit of variation here. Tell me about the variations. Which variations would be significant?
Well, within the characteristics of the home, not much variation, as you can see, in terms of the sale price. I think there are some locations which might be slightly more desirable than others, and some minor updates that would have been done based on the age of the home. Nothing significant, no big additions or anything like that. So I think the variation you're seeing between the $250 and the $307 a square foot is largely due to just small differences, and I think our low sale here at $249 per square foot, that one was completely original, no upgrades whatsoever really done to it.
And that one is the 4th comparable?
That's right.
Okay, that's my only question. Then, if we could have your information about the property and the value that you're seeking, please.
Do I compare to other places that I know of in my area, or can I say all that too?
Yes. Now, you don't have written material to give us. No. But if you can describe verbally what comparisons you are drawing, I would caution you, we don't want to hear comparisons of assessments. What we need is comparisons of sales. The law, backed up by court cases, says that we are to only listen to information about the sales and not about other assessments, simply because the other assessments might be wrong. You're saying yours is wrong, those other ones could potentially be wrong as well. Everything is supposed to go back to the look at the market in order to determine what. Exactly, and it must have been sold prior to April 1st on or prior to April 1st, 2018. We can't look at sales that are after that. That's called post-reference sales,
Okay.
and those are not valid.
Mr. Chair, I'll just remind you to do a presentation for you. It's there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm thinking of them as being first, and I'm looking at the first one
We
here
sent all
on
our information
our list. Okay,
in, and basically that's what we're basing our arguments on.
is the assessments.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, but
There's some
that's
sales
not
information.
something that we can.
Well, there's two sales ones.
There's sales ones here too.
All right.
They're higher than the sale prices. I didn't know that it had to be on.
Sales, we took the area that she's living in, and we took all the various houses, which we've listed here, and it's showing the assessment of the various properties around her area, and
Right.
she has the highest of the area.
Right.
And that's what we're basing our assessment on here, is basically too high for the area.
As well as a few real estate agents, when I had the house assessed through my divorce, they all said that my house was valued too high in terms of, I wouldn't get that sales price.
But basically, we
That's why I
don't,
started this.
Yes, it may not be prominently enough on your notice, on the material that City Clerk's Department sends out, but all of that material does make note of where to go to find the sales, and it must be sales that you look to and not assessments. So it's maybe a fair bit of information to have read. It's in there somewhere.
Okay, I never saw it.
So if you had sales prior to April 1st, we can look at those. If the sales that you have are after that date, then we can't look at it.
April 1st?
prior to
April 1st, 2018.
Oh, 2018. See, I only have just two that were sold like a few months ago.
Okay, those would be information that we cannot look at.
Okay.
The reason for that is that in order to put everybody on the same plane for the purposes of taxation, we've got to use assessments that are at the very same date. So what the assessor does is attempt to determine what property would have sold for on April 1st, in this case, 2018, that's called the reference date currently. And we're not allowed to look at anything as the appeal body, neither is the assessor allowed to look at anything after that date.
Okay.
But if there's more that you can tell us about the house that would have bearing on the value, with your yard, your location, that sort of thing that we should take into account, please do so.
Okay, well, I haven't done any upgrades at all on the house since I got it. I mean, we did a deck the first year, but that was it. Still the same deck. Painted inside.
Painted outside.
Painted outside. No, all the appliances and everything.
Or as is, yeah.
Well, they're one new appliance since, because I've been there for 25 years, so.
Basically, we're sort of agreeing with your assessor here, saying that the property is higher valued than it should be, and that's, I mean, he's right, that's.
Like, I don't have a
That's what we're-
pool, I haven't done anything to the yard, it's still just the grass that was there, I haven't done any additions, I haven't upgraded any bathrooms, I haven't.
You just paid your taxes, that's all you did. And she just got a divorce, she's got a challenged child in the family, her son is challenged, and so she's trying to keep her costs down because she doesn't really have any revenue coming in. And so we're trying to get, well, maybe we can save something here. You know, an assessment of if the house is too high, well, then they can save some tax money here. Basically, that's what we're down here for.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, then I'll turn to the assessor to ask you any
Sure.
further questions that he would like to. Mr. Kupfer, your questions?
Are you the original owner of the home?
Pardon me?
Are you the original owner of the home
Yes,
back from 1994?
yes.
Okay. So the flooring on the main floor is the same flooring that when you bought the home?
Actually, I just, a couple months ago, I just did the living room and dining room, ripped out the carpet and put in some laminate flooring.
Okay. And what does the kitchen look like? Is that still the same from 1994?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had to upgrade the furnace or the windows yet?
Yes, I have done the furnace and the windows.
Furnace and windows? The shingles, those usually last about 25 years. So you might be, either you just did them or they're due to be changed.
I just did the shingles. The shingles are new.
Well, 5 years.
Well, 5 years.
Okay. And when was the basement finished? Is it older basement finish or is it newer?
Oh, they did it the first year we bought the house.
Okay. I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Mr. Dajal, do you have questions?
No, I don't.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No, I think the assessor has asked some of the questions. That's what I was interested in too. What is the condition of your home? Did you say?
I keep a clean, tidy home.
No,
It's
I meant in terms of its build, the finishing. Do you have granite countertops, for
No.
example? Any high-end finishings?
toilet with a toilet seat.
Pardon me?
Toilet with a toilet seat.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I
That's
don't
fine.
have any, I don't have any of the high-end appliances. They're all just your basic appliances. No granite anywhere.
There's nothing high end in there.
No, I know, I have nothing high-end.
Like that's what we're trying to get at. You say
Okay.
it's too high,
Yes.
but what would be your reasons for it being lower?
Oh, I see. Just
Right?
it's older, I guess, and
And just comparing them with
just
the
comparing it to other ones.
in the
Yeah.
area.
You're comparing
Like there's-
assessments though,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of sale value,
I didn't know that.
okay.
Because I know there's 2 other houses that are identical to mine on the bay,
Right,
and they're much lower.
okay. Nope, that's
Didn't
fine.
understand
Just
that.
as much information as we could get.
Yeah, I mean, ask stuff, I don't know what to be offering. So.
No, that's good. Thank you for what you've provided.
Is there anything that would be regarded as deterioration, significant deterioration of the
Well, the
house?
stucco's falling off the house in lots of areas.
Stucco
There's lots
is-
of holes and stuff. I have a few holes.
But
The driveway is all cracked. It's not the same level as the garage. The garage floor is all cracked inside. I think that's the worst of the.
the worst of the lot, yeah.
worst of
Okay.
it.
Though, as you're, to the extent that you're aware, there's no cracking of the foundation or anything like that. Okay. What about drainage? Do you have any significant drainage issues?
No, I'm actually pretty good that way.
Okay. Is there anything around you that would be resulting in a deterioration of the value of your property? Like are both properties on you on either side, not being kept up, might have an influence on your
Well,
value?
the
Is
one
there
on one
anything like
side
that?
has a lot of stuff.
A lot of junk on
A
one
lot of
side.
junk on one side, a lot of vehicles, a lot of boats and all that stuff, but.
It's,
and a lot of junk.
he keeps a messy lot.
Yeah,
Very messy
on one side.
on
yeah.
one side there. Okay.
Mr. Kupfer, can I turn back to you? You might have some more questions, I don't know, or to proceed with whether you would make a recommendation or not.
My only other question was, I think you said you'd talked to a real estate agent or somebody in real estate, and they told you that the 460,000 was too high. Did they suggest to you what an appropriate sale price might have been at that time?
I think they said between 400 and 420, I think.
Okay, thank you. Again, based on our comparables, I would agree with you that 460,000 is too high. It's a larger lot, which I think would be desirable, obviously, in this area. But yeah, I would suggest an appropriate value is somewhere in the middle of our time-adjusted sale prices here. I would call it probably 285 or 290 a foot. So I would recommend about 425,000 for a reduction.
Okay, a reduction down to 425,000. What is your
Correct.
reaction to that?
That seems
Anything,
Yeah.
All right.
that'd be fair.
Okay. Well, we will leave it at this then. We will accept this information, deliberate on it at the end of this meeting, and then you will receive an order in the mail as soon as possible.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
So we will now go back to item number 6 on our docket, which is 1951 St. Anne's Road. Good morning.
Morning.
And do you have any written material?
Well, we gave it to the lady, she scanned it and emailed it just now. They said they never got our email. And due to that, we never got no assessment comparables from you guys either.
Okay.
And so we really don't have enough time to study these and go over these actually to compare them with ours and with yours.
Yeah. Let's begin with the swearing in, and then we can discuss this. Would you?
Yeah. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
My name is Baldev Singh Gill.
Thank you. And you're from the Evidence About Presents the Truth, the Whole Truth, and Nothing But the Truth? Thank you. Mr. Applicant, will you state your full name?
Baljeet Panchi?
And you affirm the evidence about presented the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So you received today's information that the assessor has here today.
Just now.
Yeah. Would you like to be placed a little farther down the agenda and take time to go over this? You could just go out of the room and talk about it.
No, you know what? It won't be enough time. We will need a little bit more time to maybe set up another date. Because even just looking at this, what I see here, that is the information the assessor sent, which looked good to him. It's not what's on the market. So comparable to his house, the price that house is worth.
And when you refer to things that are on the market, are you referring to currently on the market or?
No, I'm referring to the time limits that you got before the April date, 2016, 17 April and that, or April 18. Those are the ones, not anything after April 2018.
I'd like to recess for just a second and we can discuss the process here. And if you wouldn't mind, could you exit the room?
Sure.
While we have a short conversation. Okay. The practice of the board has been that both sides bring information to the hearing. For residential properties, that's relatively limited information. We consider it at the time and we make our decision on the basis of what is brought. We now have your written information. We've all got it in front of us now. That was most of the time spent during this recess, just making sure that we had it, the assessor has it. Mm-hmm. So we've got all of the information now and consequently we will proceed. Mm-hmm. So we'll begin with the assessor describing his information. Mm-hmm. Mr. Kupfer, could I turn to you, please?
We are on 1951 St. Anne's Road, roll number 0802115750. It's in the St. Vital Perimeter South area. A two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 2009, 3,030 square feet of living area, a full basement with basement finish, 5 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and an attached triple garage, and a lot size of about 2.5 acres. The 4 comparables, all in the same neighborhood, all 2 stories, all constructed around the same time between 1994 and 2010. Living areas ranging from a low of 2,020 square feet to a high of 3,184 square feet. All have full basements with basement finish, with the exception of comparable number 2, which had an unfinished basement and 1 fewer bathrooms. All have central air conditioning and a fireplace, and a variety of garages, which you can see before you. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables range from a low of 85,500 square feet, or about 2 acres, to a high of 217,000 square feet, which would be about 5 acres. Turning to our map on page 2, I would say that comparable number 1 is probably the most similar in terms of orientation and size. As you can see, it fronts onto St. Mary's there, where the subject is onto St. Anne's, and again, similar layout. The 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $889,000, or about $293.40 per square foot. And that's what we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Applicants, do you have questions for Mr. Kupfer about this information that he has presented?
The one that 1285 Fraser Road, you are using it as a comparable. How much of a homework you done on that to see what it has extra that the other property doesn't have?
Is there anything specific you're talking about?
Yes, there's a 10 people hot tub that's built outside, especially for that purpose, like another small building. No, and that is around gotta be about $70,000-$80,000. Put that out there. And it's a 5 acre lot.
Well, that isn't mentioned. There's no hot tub or deck or anything like that in the sales listing here. So I would suggest that was probably built after the sale.
No, it says on the sale of it, I read it in remarks, 10 people hot tub. I think you missed that. Please read it again. I forgot to tell you, I'm a real estate agent. I got access to all the properties here. He's a cousin of mine and a friend too. And because we really checked, I just did it right away in few minutes.
You have referred to what for the
number 1285 has a 10-person hot tub on the deck separate from the house. So that means it's just like another building that's insulated properly with a hot tub in there and everything. And that's a 10 people, not even a 5 people.
You're drawing this information from where?
Multiple listing services.
From
MLS.
From MLS, and
yes.
As of what date?
As of the date it got sold here.
The owner's correct. They do mention having a 10-person hot tub. There's just no photos or anything of it in the listing, unfortunately.
A 5 acre lot, which is this property is like square footage is 217,790 square feet, and we're saying of his is about 2.5 acres. 2.5 acres, 50% of that size. And the acreage that is selling out there, not today, before, they're around close to $200,000 to $300,000 lots for these kind of acreages out there.
Can I ask you, what was the date of that MLS listing?
1 second here, I'll have to go back on this. Five-acre lot, hold on.
The date of the listing I'm showing is August 2016.
All right, thank you.
was 2016 was the sale on this one showing.
Okay, so you're asking Mr. Kupfer, what,
Like I'm just comparing one, it's probably sold for 960,000 due to see extras in there, 5-acre lot versus a 2.5-acre lot. And that's one comparable. And if you really look at another one, which was, we got it as what actually in January 22nd.
is this a question for Mr. Kupfer? Because right now, what we're at is questions for clarification about his data.
Yeah, the clarification was because of that, it's the sale price was 988,000. It showed time adjusted, and the sale price is 960. But again, it's 5-acre lot with few extra amenities on the property than the St. Anne's one doesn't have.
Yeah, it has different characteristics. It also has a completely unfinished basement. So you'd be making some pretty large adjustments to use this as your comparable. I would suggest that comparable number 1, 3390 St. Mary's, is probably the best comparable.
Yeah, and but it's not unfinished basement on, I think basically, let me double check this. It says on the Fraser one you're saying, I'll have to go. See, that's why we needed time to do our homework. You know, I know you guys have done yours, and we have to really pinpoint, highlight the stuff, but we are really comparing apple to oranges here, instead of giving us 20 minutes to say, we got the information, now you guys got yours, let's go at it, which I think is not proper, the decision your committee has made.
We accept the information that both parties bring to us.
I understand that.
You
guys accepted it, will look good to you guys, right? You did not give us a fair chance. We are individual. He doesn't have much information. I came in, like I'm a real estate agent, but I came in to help him. But I noticed for us to go within 10-15 minutes to find the.
But it is similar. It's similar. Your information has to be looked at now by the assessor.
Yeah, we would request to get some time, maybe another date for it, to get our homework done properly, to get our ducks in a row, because there is a lot of money he's going to be paying out of his hard-earned money for taxes and that.
This has been the process that we've employed for many years. And for this
we
case,
know the process,
we're going to be carrying on.
I understand that, but the thing is that when you guys hang somebody in, here's the comparables you're using against you, you want the individual to just open and say, wow, meanwhile, your assessor has been sitting on it for a month, studying everything, how he's going to increase the tax and the assessment on this. Just get me, I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying the, facts on it. And an individual who's innocent, doesn't know nothing, got 10-15 minutes to compare with your comparables, and you guys have all that time. You got a professional sitting over there doing all that.
You have the period of time from when you get your notice and then put in an application.
We did.
Until now to do your homework as well. Which
yeah, but nobody sent us this. How come nobody sent us this then, the comparables?
Because the process has been that you get the two sides now, get their evidence put forward, and that's what we wind up considering. So now, I understand your point. We will certainly consider it for the future, but as for now, we will be making the decision today.
I know, but by the future, he would be $3,000-4,000 short on his taxes for next 3 years. That'll be $12,000.
Okay. Do you have other questions for
Yes, hold on, one more. Property, if you look at it, just a comparable, 720 Road, sold on January 22nd, 2017, was a 6,600 square foot house.
Sorry, which one of the comparables?
724, the evidence I gave you guys.
No. Right now, we're looking at his evidence, and it's your opportunity to ask him questions about it.
Yeah,
we will hear.
We asked the question.
Let me finish.
Okay.
We will hear your evidence shortly. The
Okay.
process is, we are at the point of asking the assessor about his information. So if you have more questions about his information, please proceed.
Also, some of the comparables he got here on 1697 St. Anne's and 84 Fraser, like these properties are built in the years of 94 and that one of them, and basically like it's not really a comparable 2,000 square foot house, 2,100. We can't really work it how it's going to be. So that's about basically it, like I cannot ask very many questions. We just got this, we didn't compare. I didn't check those listings on MLS to see exactly what the pluses they have in it. Because we do have the mark section where it tells everything about the property, what it is all about in 5-10 lines about it, what the pluses and minuses are. On yours, it just shows square footage, this square footage, the year it's built, the address, that's it.
Okay, if there's no more questions,
No more
then I'll
questions.
just turn to the panel members. Mr. Danjal, do you have any questions?
Not at this point, I don't.
Ms. Nesbitt?
I have a question of the assessor. Mr. Kupfer, you have as land influences for each one of these, no sewer, no water. So what is the sewer system that is set up? Is it a septic field in all cases? Is it holding tanks? Is there a mix?
That's a good question. Let's see if it says anything in the listing itself. I'm not sure exactly. I would suggest it's probably septic tanks. That'd be a good question for the homeowner.
Okay, and water, how does the water come in? Is it wells? Is it trucked in? How do they get water?
Again, it would be based on the individual homeowner and what they want to do.
I'm just trying to determine for each case, they all say no sewer, no water. So do they have the same systems or are there different systems for your comparables?
I didn't make note of each individual water and sewer system. I would suggest that based on the similar size and the similar time that they were built, that they would have comparable systems.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
So your comparables here, you said number one is possibly the most comparable. Is that on the strength of building characteristics or land or location? Sorry, can you tell me a bit more?
Both.
Yeah,
I'm just showing you as
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking him? Yes.
Yeah, so I believe comparable number 2 is the best comparable. The shape. Or sorry, comparable number 1 is the best comparable. Given the shape of the property and how it faces St. Mary's and how it faces St. Anne's. Of course, being on St. Mary's, you would expect to get more traffic heading down that way. You can see St. Anne's kind of dead ends here, and I think it turns into a 4-mile road. So you wouldn't get as much through traffic as you would on St. Mary's. Again, the lot is half an acre bigger on the subject, and it has an extra bathroom. So yeah, it has an attached double and a detached single, whereas the subject has an attached triple garage, which again, I think are relatively comparable. I would probably give an edge to the attached triple being more desirable. So I think it is our closest available comparable, but you would want to adjust upwards for a few of those characteristics, such as the lot size and the extra bathroom and less traffic.
Okay, so your range of time adjusted sale prices, number one is at the bottom at 266. Your high end is 353. You're saying that comp one would likely be the best, but that the 266 would have to have some upward adjustments because of those other factors. You're saying that the 293 is reflecting what those adjustments would be?
I do believe that's a good approximation of the market value. Yes, around 889,000.
Okay. That's all my questions. Then we'll turn to the applicants for their evidence. Could I have that, please?
Yes. One evidence to be brought just as a comparable of what one property sold if you go by the square footage of it and also the acreage on 724 sold on January the 1st, 2017 was sold at 899,000 and the house is 6,610 square feet with a 5-acre lot. And if you start dividing that into the price of the square, with the price to become to the square footage or construction cost of kind of it, it's very, ours should be very less. It's almost 50% the size of this house. And they are assessing this house of ours at 2.5-acre land with a 3,000 square foot house to around 800 some thousand, where a comparables sold for 900,000. That's 6,600 square feet, and with multiple garage, and also has a pool, indoor pool and everything. And it's like how the assessment could be same versus a 6,600 square feet house that sold in 2017 January. And like it's something they should have looked at to compare it, to bring the prices for the certain houses down. Another one, yes, you guys are comparing all 2 stories, fine, but the construction costs are different. Where there's on 2610 St. Mary's Road.
Sorry, what's the address?
2610 St. Mary's Road.
Okay.
It's 2,570 square feet bungalow that's built on 4.54 square feet with the partly finished basement, depends how much it is done, sold for 600,000. Like a basement, a bungalow is same size, the upstairs, and the same is on the basement, and its construction cost is more than a 2-story. Because 2-story, if the house is 3,000 square feet, the basement is 1,500 square feet, it's less. So the construction is less on that. And this one sold for 600,000. It's 2,570 square feet bungalow. So these are the basically 2 we got actually, and then there's the other ones I sent, which is same thing, like comparing square footages to the partly finished basement versus a 5-acre lot versus a 2.5-acre lot.
Is that
on
1335
Fraser Road, that's close to this house, was 1,743 square feet with partly finished, with also has a shop on it, 30 by 42 foot shop on the property. And it's a 5-acre lot, not very far from the subject property of Mr. Gill.
Are there others that you want to point us to?
Yeah, so that was one, like basically has a shop, like in-floor heating system, heated shop, everything. To build a shop like that, it kind of goes over close to $100,000 or $80,000.
Anything else?
No, that should be it. Like we just didn't have enough.
All right, then I'll turn to Mr. Cupper. Do you have questions of the applicants about the information they have presented?
I don't believe any of the comparables that were presented by the applicants are even remotely as close to the subject as my comparable number 1 is. I don't have any questions.
Mr. Danjal, do you have questions?
No, not at this point. No, I don't.
Ms. Nesbitt?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Can I just ask a question of Mr. Cupper?
Yes.
Mr. Cupper, I didn't hear what you were saying. You're saying that you do not believe the applicant's comparables are what? I didn't hear what you said, sorry.
I don't believe the comparables represented by the applicant represent the subject property as well as my comparables do, particularly comparable number 1. Just browsing through the year built or either in the 80s, and the sizes are different. The Like everything is different about these homes. I believe my comparable number 1 better represents the subject property.
Thanks for just saying that a little louder for me.
Of course.
Mr. Applicant, can you tell me, I see in your comparables, a lot of them say septic tank and field?
They have septic tank and field. The reason is that the land is, I think, probably less than 2 acres. They will let you put a holding tank and that. But if it's over 2.5 acre, it's allowable to certain places, municipalities and that, or in the city, you can put a septic field in there.
Okay, and 1951 has a tank only,
You have a septic field.
septic field, and no,
My neighbors, everybody has septic field.
okay, because your property is large enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have our own water,
You have a well,
well,
okay,
yeah. And we have what's it called, a sewer system, nothing there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with the comparables that the assessor brought?
I just saw today.
Do you know if what they have for septic and sewer? Do they have a similar setup?
Mostly that area have septic field.
Okay, because again, of the size of the lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And just looking at the properties you brought, some of them refer to septic tank and field.
Well, that is a system it has on the computer. It says like that. It doesn't divides it what septic field or tank.
Okay.
It's automatically, once you put on there, it says septic field / tank.
Okay, I see. So,
People know that there is no city sewer.
gotcha. Okay, I understand that then. Okay, that's all the questions. Thank you.
About the water supply, you have a well. Is the water quality satisfactory?
We have a softener there. Yeah, and we usually use our bottled water.
Have you had to extend the well? No. Drill it deeper? No. The area surrounding your property, is there anything happening around that property that is a negative influence or a positive influence on the property?
There's a floodway very close to me.
To which?
The flood.
The floodway is
The floodway.
one house away from his house. The next door neighbor is neighbor to the floodway, so right next to it.
I see. Okay. All right, well, that's all my questions. We will take this information, deliberate at the end of this meeting, and then we will issue an order, which you will get by mail as soon as possible. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a 5-minute recess.
Yes.
All right. Right, we are back and we will proceed with item number 8 on the docket. And that is 45 Gullwing Bay. Mr. Kupfer, when you are ready, could we have your evidence, please?
Sorry,
Oh, we should do that. Why not?
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
John Adam William Nixon.
And you affirm the event to represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Kupfer?
45 Gullwing Bay, roll number 06004075 100. This is in the Island Lakes neighborhood area. It is a 1.5-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1995. The living area is 1,785 square feet. It does have a full basement with basement finish, 4 bathrooms, central air conditioning, a fireplace, and an attached double garage, and a lot size of just over 10,000 square feet, and it backs onto a retention pond. Comparables 1 through 4 are all in the Island Lakes area as well. I wasn't able to locate any other 1.5 stories, so I've got a collection of 1-story and 2 stories here for you. Constructed between 1986 and 1998. A living area ranging from a low of 1,596 square feet to a high of 2,087 square feet. All comparables have full basements with basement finish, ranging from 2 to 4 bathrooms. All have central air and at least one fireplace, and all have a similar sized attached double garage. They all back onto a retention pond, lot sizes ranging from a low of 7,707 square feet to a high of 12,192 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices range from a low of 489,200 to a high of 519,600, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $234.40 to a high of $319.56. Page 2 of my brief will show you a map of the area where the subject is located. It kind of gives you an idea of they're all on kind of different areas, but similar, close by, all backing onto retention ponds, as you can see. The subject property was purchased in January 2021 by the current owner, and the 2022 assessment is currently set at $532,000, or about $298 per square foot. Thank you.
Mr. Applicant, do you have questions of the assessor about this information he has presented?
No specific questions. I will have some thoughts and discussion about it. But I understand the comparables and how they've been pulled together.
Okay. Mr. Denjal, do you have any questions?
No, not at this point.
Ms. Nesbitt?
Mr. Kupfer, I'm looking at your comparable number 1. There's a year built of 1986, but an effective year of 1991. So obviously that property has had some upgrades, I would guess. None of the others have any change in effective year built. So can you tell us about comp 1 a little bit more, please?
Comp 1. You're right that it would have been reviewed by a member of our staff. The effective age has been increased due to some renovations that were done. In reviewing the property, the sunroom addition was put onto the back. That would have contributed to an increased effective age. The listing itself mentions updated windows, newer insulation, and a newer furnace. Other than that, the remainder of the home appears to be fairly original back to the 1986.
So of these comps, they all appear to be in the same general neighborhood. Which one do you believe is the best one that we should be looking at?
That's a great question. I can't say I've got an apples and apples comparison for you here. The fact that it's a 1.5 story kind of puts it at odds with most of the homes in the area. I'm not sure if it was a custom build or not back in the day. Maybe that's why it's a little bit different. But I would suggest that our range of sales here is probably appropriate between that 489,000 and 519,000 mark. Our assessment should probably fall within that and be reduced by a bit from 532,000.
Okay, so then my next question would be, what do you believe it should be reduced by or to?
Well, that's a good question. I would say it probably falls somewhere in the middle. Generally speaking, 1 stories are going to command a higher price per square foot, and 2 stories are going to command a lower price per square foot. And I think you can see that discrepancy there. So of course, this being a 1.5 story, it's probably going to fall somewhere in the middle. So I would suggest somewhere in the range of $300 per square foot for this home. We're already at 298, sorry. So I would suggest probably around $290 per square foot for this home.
Which brings us to what is an assessment?
It would be 518,000.
Thank you, Mr. Kupfer.
There's some difference in the comps compared to the subject when it comes to bathrooms. is it like with comp one, full bath one, half bath one, showers one? Are these differences significant in the market?
I would say for homes of this size, 3 bathrooms would kind of be the standard. So having only 2 bathrooms would be a bit of a detractor for sure. On comparable number 1, it looks like they partially finished the basement, but they didn't actually put a bathroom down there, so that's why it's still only 2. Typically, when people finish the basement, they add a bathroom to it. So having 4 bathrooms would be more desirable than 3 or 2.
The land influences, they're all on retention ponds. Number 3, bus route, bus stop, external corner, light traffic. Are those all negative influences?
The light traffic certainly would be. A bus route generally isn't a negative influence. In fact, sometimes it can be a positive influence. Having a bus stop, however, right in front of your house would potentially bring in some unwanted traffic. So I would consider that to be a slight negative influence.
And does your computer system then, if somebody puts in bus stop, does it have a standard amount of reduction that it applies?
It doesn't, no, not at this time.
It doesn't. So these are all things to take note of, but you would have to make a subjective change based on them. It's not that the computer system is making any kind of set reduction. Is that correct?
That's correct. We haven't been able to substantiate a solid value that these would either add or detract. So it's something that we're currently tracking, but not something we're assigning any significant value to.
Those are all my questions, at least for the time being. Mr. Applicant, could we have your evidence, please?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to meet with you virtually. I appreciate that. So I am requesting a assessment value at the purchase price of the house at $495,000. The comparables here, I don't have a lot of concerns about. I would state that a 1.5 stories is probably less desirable than a 2-story as we were looking at it. Certainly that was a concern by ourselves as well as our realtor in reselling. It's a unique and a bit of an odd house. So that was a concern to us, and I think it should be taken into consideration as the least of the desirables. It is the other 2 are bungalows, which I think carry a higher value in the marketplace, especially in this area. The bungalow is probably the most desirable, especially on the as it sits there. In our house, we have original furnace, original windows, original kitchen. Insulation to us is a bit of a concern right now, original insulation in the house as well. So a lot of those come into concern for us. The land on the front lawn has sunken substantially, so we're going to have to do some work there to bring in topsoil and regrass that. So that's a concern for us. And aside from that, there is a deck on the back. It's old, needs a good amount of work and replacement at some point. I think when I look at the comparables, I would relate, again, I don't see a large discrepancy to where we're at. We've got a 2-story on Decagny Cove at 234 per square foot at an assessed value of $490. The bus stop on Comp 2 is at the side of the house. It's not in front of the house. So that's, I wouldn't consider that directly in front of that house. And that's the way I look at it. I was going to talk to you about comparables to assessments of the houses directly beside us, but I heard earlier that that is not part of our discussion today. So I'll leave that off. But we are the highest assessed in the row, if I can say that at this point.
Any additional information?
The repair of the driveway has cracks, so gonna have to look at something there. The driveway is sunken. That's thus that when you approach the garage, there's a 2-inch lip that you have to drive over. So a number of those things to take into consideration. So for that, I am requesting the assessment at the purchase price of $495,000.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, questions?
I'm just reviewing it was a private sale, so we did a sales mailer. So I just want to confirm with the applicant, it looks like the roof was recently replaced and the kitchen was updated, not newly, but in the last 10 years or so, and the rest of the home would be more or less original. Is that correct?
The change to the kitchen was countertops and nothing else. The rest of it is original. The roof, agreed. I was told the roof was purchased. They did have, although the documents I sent to you, they did have another realtor involved from Coldwell Banker. His name was Ken Maines.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Angel, questions?
Yeah, just one question in reference to the front lawn. You were saying it's sunk. Like, how many inches are we talking? 5 inches, 4 inches, foot?
There's an access manhole in the front yard, and I would say I have to bring the lawn up to level with that is going to be 4 to 5 inches of topsoil.
How big of an area?
Probably 30 foot by 30 foot, give or take. Maybe it's 20 by 40. I don't know. You could say 30 by 30.
30 by 30, 4 to 5 inches of topsoil.
And reseeding and some of that, yeah. There's no outbuildings on the property.
Yeah.
No storage sheds or outbuildings at the time of purchase.
That's all I got.
Ms. Nesbitt, questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
And I have no questions. So that concludes our discussion of this item on the docket. Thank you very much for appearing before us. We will be deliberating at the end of this meeting, arriving at our decisions, and the order that we come up with will be mailed to you as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is 182 Ebbtide Drive. Item number 9. Mr. Kupfer, nope, sorry, I'll get it right this time. Do we have the swearing in?
Yep. Madam applicant, please state your full name.
Michelle McDermott.
Thank you. And you are from the Devon to represent the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Kupfer.
182 Ebbtide Drive, roll number 060930333700. This is in the Island Lakes neighborhood again. This is a cab-over, single-family dwelling, constructed in 2005, 1,905 square feet of living area. Does have a full basement with basement finish, 3 full bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and an attached double garage. A lot size of 5,180 square feet. For comparables, again, all in the Island Lakes area, all cab-over single-family dwellings constructed in either 2004 or 2005. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,786 square feet to a high of 1,850 square feet. All have full basements with basement finish. All have 3 bathrooms with the exception of Comp 2, which has 4 bathrooms. All have central air conditioning. All have fireplaces, again with the exception of Comp 2. And all have attached double garages and a similar lot size ranging from a low of 4,178 square feet to a high of 5,392 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for comparables range from a low of 429,300 to a high of 473,800, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $232 per square foot to a high of $264 per square foot. Page 2 of my brief shows you the map. No next door neighbors or anything, but Comp 4, 91 Ebbtide is the closest in terms of proximity, as well as Comp number 2 at number 8, Brian Monkman Bay. It's just 1 street over. The property was purchased most recently, post-reference, by the current owner. I believe, 1 second here. Or no, I'm mistaken. The current owner purchased it in 2016. That is our most recent sale for $439,900. And our assessment, our 2022 assessment, currently set at $465,000 or $244 per square foot is what we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Applicant, do you have questions of the assessor about this information that he has presented?
I believe the information that he's presented is correct. I'm wondering if you've taken into consideration one of the comps being at the end of, there's one that just sold like 2 or 3 days ago for $398, which is at 170 Ebbtide Drive.
I would just interrupt you there. We cannot consider any sales that are after April 1st, 2018.
Okay.
We must peg all of the values to what's called the reference date, which is April 1st, 2018. So sales leading up to that, that's good information, useful for us. Anything after that, we must not look at.
Okay, I understood it the other way around. Okay. So then my comparables that I have are all after 2018. I guess to put into consideration the condition of my home compared to the ones that he is using as comparables. I have sent
sorry, you have questions about those comparables?
Well, I was just wondering if they were taken into consideration of his other comparables. I had a professional appraiser come in and do an appraisal, and I sent that in, and her value is at 428. I also had a real estate agent come in to give me like a value of what he would sell it for, and he came in between 417 and 420.
That sort of thing we would think of as your evidence that you will, but right now, is there a specific question about the information that the assessor gave?
No.
All right. Then I'll turn to Mr. Danjal. Do you have a question?
Just a statement in reference to comparison number 2, 3, and 4. Just some clarification as far as showers is concerned. 2 says 2 and 3 says 1 and 1. Just want to get a clarification on that aspect.
So comparable number 2 here. Well, so a full bath is a full bathroom with a tub, a shower, a sink, and a toilet, 4 pieces. We would track a 3-piece bathroom, which is a tub, a sink, and just a standing shower with no tub, as a half bathroom with 1 shower. So comparable number 3 here, with 3 full bathrooms and 1 shower, it would mean that one of the full bathrooms is actually a 5-piece bathroom and has a separate tub and shower. That's why it's marked that way.
Okay. Well, that's the only question that I had.
Yeah. Ms. Nesbitt?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
And I have no questions. So at this point then, Ms. Applicant, could we have further information that you could give us?
Yeah, so when we purchased the house at 439.9, at that time, we didn't notice any kind of foundation issues or problems. However, over the last 5 years, there have been some issues with that. Our main level flooring in the middle has been lifted by about 2 inches compared to the outside surrounding home. There was heaving in the basement floors. There were walls that didn't have floating walls in, so I had to do some work there that's still not completed, in order to kind of balance off the main floor. Everything that's in the house, other than the flooring in the kitchen, dining room, and living room, were replaced before we moved in. However, they were not installed correctly. They are lifting, they're separating. And there's lots of spaces that are in between the floorings pieces. The kitchen is still original. The backsplash is falling off. The appliances were damaged. There seemed to have been a type of fire with their dishwasher prior to our buying of it, because the outside cupboard is burnt. There's now also some water damage done to the flooring in the kitchen due to a leak in our dishwasher. Our outside deck is need of repair or completely redoing. Then our driveway and walkway are cracked. They have sunken a little bit as well. Our side walk to our backyard, all the paving stones are all coming apart or falling and separating. It's the original roof. We've done, it's all the original appliances as well, other than I've upgraded the dishwasher and the microwave. But other than that, the biggest concern that a lot of people had, because I did try to sell about 3 years ago, was that there was a major slope in the home on the main floor, and that's where that 2-inch hump from the basement floor was heaving. I think that's all of everything. So for it to be valued at $468 would be unrealistic. I had it 3 years ago. I had it on the was selling it for $429.9, I believe I listed it for, and I didn't get a single interested party. They all just walked away as soon as they basically walked in the house and felt the slope of the flooring. $468 is extremely unrealistic, with a real estate agent saying $417 to $420, and the professional appraiser saying $428. I believe $468 is unrealistic and is not possible to even sell at that.
All right, Mr. Cupford, do you have questions?
I just wanted to clarify, I'm looking at your listing here. It was for $449, not for $429. Is that correct?
For when?
For when you listed the home in 2017?
Oh, was
I'm trying for $449.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. It was 3 years ago, and that's what we're going from. And then we were going to drop it, but then I just decided to stay because I wasn't going to make what I needed.
Okay. It looks like the main floor flooring has either been replaced or refinished. Was that something you did, or was that prior to your purchase?
So the main flooring was put in just before we bought it. And it is now currently separating. There's water damage on it. There's a bunch of damage between the kitchen and the great room, I guess it's called, on that flooring.
You're getting water damage on your main floor?
On the main floor, we actually did replace the flooring last year in the great room off of the kitchen. We did that flooring. And then the 2-bedroom floorings that we did as well on the main floor. And then there's water damage in the kitchen on the main floor.
So is that from a burst pipe? How is the water damage getting onto the floor?
It was a small leak in our dishwasher that we weren't aware of. It was underneath. It was pooling underneath the dishwasher, so we never saw it until it became so big that it actually started to creep out from under the dishwasher, and that's when we discovered.
Okay. Have you had to rip up any of the basement finish or anything like that due to the shifting of the water?
Not from the water, no. I ripped up the basement carpet in order to put in new laminate flooring in the basement, as the carpet was old, and so I was redoing that. That's when we noticed that the basement floor was heaved, and then we took down some of the drywall and saw the floating walls. There weren't floating walls put in, which was then jacking up the middle of my main floor.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Narendipal, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, in reference to the basement itself, you were saying it's heaving. From your pictures there, where exactly, could you point that out exactly where that would be exactly?
There's over by the window, the two windows that are side by side, there's heaving there, and it's cracked all the way along towards the stairs. And then there's another heaving point right by the stairs.
And upstairs?
And then upstairs, it was right in between the living room and dining room. There's about a 2-inch difference from the front to the back of the house and from the two sides of the house. So east and west and north and south, and all around the perimeter of the house. That was all the same level. And then as it got to the middle of the flooring between the living room and dining room, it went up by 2 inches.
I see. Okay, that's about it.
And then there should be pictures in there as well that the stucco on the outside of my house is all cracked.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt, questions?
No, I have no questions. I'm just looking for these pictures. Sure. Thank you. No, I have no questions.
A ways down.
Yeah.
So you said you had done some flooring upgrades, but the dishwasher damage was after those upgrades that you had done, or the replacements you had done. Has that been fixed yet or not?
The damage to the flooring from the dishwasher has not been repaired.
Okay. But you replaced the dishwasher, or was this just a plumbing fix?
It was just a plumbing issue. It's a brand, because when we bought the place, there was no dishwasher. And so we put in the dishwasher, and so it's a brand new dishwasher, and there was just some sort of, I'm not even sure exactly what had happened, but there was some sort of leak from I think it was from the pan of the bottom of the dishwasher. It was overflowing.
Okay. Well, it's very helpful having these photos and your detailed description. So beyond that, I don't have any questions. So we will consider this at the end of our meeting and make a decision. You will receive an order from the board in the mail as soon as possible. Thank you very much for appearing today.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye.
The next item on our agenda, item number 10, is 205 Blue Sun Drive. Do we have our applicant with us? Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Robert Martin Oxnick.
Thank you. And you are from the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Kupfer, when you are ready.
Number 205 Blue Sun Drive, roll number 0609-326-7300. It's in the Sage Creek neighborhood area. It's a two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 2011. 2,482 square feet of living area, full basement with basement finish, 4 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and an attached double garage. The lot size is just over 5,800 square feet. Our 4 comparables are all in the Sage Creek neighborhood as well. They're all 2-story single-family dwellings constructed between 2010 and 2013. Living areas, all quite close, between 2,395 square feet and 2,442 square feet. They all have full basements with basement finish. They all have 4 bathrooms. They all have air conditioning and 1 fireplace and an attached double garage. The lot size for the 4 comparables ranging from a low of 5,292 square feet to a high of 7,187 square feet. Time adjusted sale price for our 4 comparables ranging from a low of 547,000 to a high of 579,400. Our time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $228 per square foot to a high of $248 per square foot. This home was purchased most recently in July 2020 by the current owner. Page 2 of my map here shows the proximity of our comparables. As you can see, comparable number 3 is actually the next door neighbor to the subject property. And I think for that reason, as well as many of the same characteristics of the home, I think it makes a very strong comparable. So I would suggest matching the time adjusted sale price of comparable number 3 for this current assessment, which would be $228 a foot, times 2,482 square feet would be $566,000. That's my recommendation today. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Applicant, do you have questions of the assessor about this material that he has presented and his recommendation?
I have no questions regarding the comparables. I think they're all quite good, and yeah, they all seems to be right. I provided some comparables as well, and some of them overmatch. So yeah, I have no questions with the comparables. I would argue slightly on the recommendation, but otherwise, I think it's all good.
All right, then I'll turn to the panel members. Mr. Danjal, do you have questions?
No, I don't.
Ms. Nesbitt?
I have no questions. Thank you.
And I have no questions. So, Mr. Applicant, could we have the information you would like us to consider?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with the assessor that I think column 3 in his examples is probably the closest. It is my next door neighbor. Basically, I think the exercise here that I was instructed that I need to follow is that I have to establish what the fair value of the home is. And I know what the fair market value of the home was in June of 2020. It was $540,000. That's the purchase price of our home. I feel that we're looking at the comparables that were provided. All the homes listed here have a time adjusted value of something greater than my sold price, of my fair market value. And all of the homes were have assessment. I know we don't want to talk about that too much, but all the assessed homes have assessed values of significantly less than my home. If you look at my next door neighbor, he purchased his home with a time adjusted sale price of $547,000 in August of 2017. Again, that's $7,000 more than my fair market value home in June of 2020. And he has an assessed value of like $85,000 less than mine. So really, again, I provided some comparisons in my letter to you, but it really basically shows the exact same thing that your assessor has provided as well. So I think it just kind of supports my case that all these homes have fair market value of higher than mine, and all their assessed values are lower than mine in every single case. I could not find a single example of any home in Sage Creek that has an assessed value $60,000 dollars more than the sold price. I don't think it's
Mr. Cupper, do you have questions?
I have no questions of the applicant. Thank you.
Mr. Donjal?
I have no question.
Ms. Nesbitt?
I have no questions of the applicant, but may I ask a question of the assessor?
Yes.
Mr. Kupfer, you're recommending a slight decrease to $228 per square foot based on comp 3, which does still result in an increased, well, it results in a decrease in assessment to $566, correct?
Correct.
And that's still $20,000 roughly over this time adjusted sales price of comp 3. And that's attributed to slightly greater square footage, 83 square feet bigger. So with 83 square feet bigger, which I'm not really sure where that would be, would that account for a $20,000 difference in a sales price? Like, I know we're using the same adjustment per square, per square foot rate, but it still results in 20,000 more than the next door neighbor.
No, that's absolutely a fair question. And when you put it that way, obviously 83 square feet doesn't sound like a lot, but I would suggest that the price per square foot is probably our best metric for approximating that value. Right. So I can see where you're coming from, saying 25,000 sounds like a lot of value for that little square foot, but I don't know any other better way to approximate that value.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Certainly.
Thank you. We're trying to look at these comparables to establish a fair market value. And I'm just curious, we know actually, we've established what the fair market value is of the home. Certainly we have as of June 2020. Wouldn't that be the overriding evidence here, rather than trying to guesstimate an approximate value of the home based on other like homes? Wouldn't we put the most weight on what the actual fair market value of the home was? We know exactly what that is. We don't have to kind of guess what that value is.
Mr. Cupper, can I ask you to answer that?
Well, beyond just the fact that the sale occurred past our reference date, the issue with using one single sale to establish market value is that it's an imperfect market. So in this example, your post-reference sale, I would suggest that the owners were likely motivated to sell. They dropped their price within 7 days. They have right in their listing, owners say sell this place, it's priced low. So in order to establish market value, we'll typically use a collection of sales within the area, as any one sale can potentially be over or under an appropriate value for hundreds of reasons.
Yeah, I understand your logic, Mr. Assessor. I do. But we're kind of guessing here, because the sellers could have obviously overpriced their home to begin with, which is why they dropped their price. So we're all speculating on the reasons why they did that. At the end of the day, the house was on the market for many, many months, and ultimately the highest bid that anyone put in was our bid at $540. That to me reasonably makes sense of, that's an objective measure there, right there. We don't have to kind of guess at the reasons they dropped the price or this or that. It's kind of set in stone, I think, at $540, certainly at June. Now, the exercise of what is it at the reference point? Well, I think that's an exercise we have to look at through a time-adjusted formulation. I tried to indicate in my letter certain metrics that we could use to value the home from June of 2020 to your reference point. And you can get various statistics on that. But I think really, in my opinion anyway, that would be really the practice that we need to do, is determine the value between June of 2020 and April, at least in my opinion.
That's a fair opinion. I don't really have any comments on that.
We are, as a field body, we are bound to not look at any information that would be post-reference. So we have to be blind to that and must look at the sales that lead up to that time.
It is. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Do you have another question?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We have rules to follow. It's just certainly, looking at the questioning that you've had of certain applicants, you've asked, well, what's it like in its current physical condition? So we're questioning what it's like in its current condition, which is post reference date of 2018, yet we can't use market value information. So it just seems to me a little bit inconsistent there, but I just want to.
Manitoba courts have been quite clear that the objective of the assessment is to reflect the economic conditions of the reference date, but the current physical conditions of the property. That was ironed out in court case back in the 90s.
Okay.
Consequently, for instance, it wouldn't be fair to assess you at 566 or whatever if your house had burnt down yesterday. That's an extreme case. But so it is the physical conditions of today that must be accounted for. And if changes had been made between, say, April 1st and now, essentially it's up to the assessor to quantify what that amounts to, but put it in terms of how would a seller have viewed that property on April 1st, 2018. So economic factors of the reference date, physical factors of today. I don't have any questions. Is there any need to summarize either party? No, if not, then thank you very much for appearing today, Mr. Applicant. We will deliberate, come up with an order that you will receive by mail as soon as possible.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. That brings us to item number 11. And that is 34 Water Lily Lane. No, if not, then thank you very much for appearing today, Applicant. We will, we have a little, oh, you've got to turn off your YouTube. Okay, sounds all right. We obviously have him. Could we have the swearing in?
Sorry, I can't ask you to unmute again.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name
Rob Denami.
and your firm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Kupfer, your evidence when you're ready, please.
34 Water Lily Lane, roll number 060933405000. This is in the Sage Creek neighborhood area. It's a two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 2014, 2,485 square feet of living area. It does have a fully finished walkout basement, 4 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and an attached multi-garage. Lot size of just over 11,000 square feet, and it does back onto a retention pond. Our 4 comparables, all in the Sage Creek area as well. All 2-story single-family dwellings constructed between 2010 and 2015. Lot sizes ranging from a low of 2,440 square feet to a high of 2,556 square feet. All are similar builds. They all have fully finished walkout basements. All have 4 bathrooms, all have air conditioning, all have at least 1 fireplace, all have a similar sized attached multi-garage. All of them back onto a retention pond or have a retention pond influence. The only oddball here is the comparable number 3 in terms of lot size, because a much smaller lot. The others are 9,830 or over. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of 842,500 to a high of 999,800. Our time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from $331 per square foot to $400.40 per square foot. Page 2 of my brief, again, our map will show the layout and proximity of our comparables. The home was most recently purchased by the current owner in August 2017 for $816,500. The 2022 assessment for the property is the exact time adjusted sale price of the owner's purchase price. That was overridden by a member of our staff. I believe it was during the RAP program. The homeowner contacted one of our staff members, and he had reduced the assessment down to $827,000, or $332.80 per square foot, which is what we will be recommending today. Thank you.
Mr. Applicant, do you have questions about this information presented by the assessor?
No questions about the information. It was good to see that information. I do have, the reason I'm here is because of, I was not comparing my house to the other houses like mine that I'm seeing here, but more like my neighbors. My neighbors' houses, when you can see what I submitted, they live in these monster bungalows.
Okay, we'll wait just a second for your evidence then.
Sure.
Right now, it would just be, do you need to clarify anything that you don't understand about the information the assessor presented?
No, that looks good.
Okay. In that case, I'll turn to the panel members. Mr. Danjal, do you have any questions?
Not at this point.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions.
Mr. Kupfer, there's a considerable difference in lot size. How influential is that? For instance, the very highest dollar per square foot of the adjusted sale price is the largest lot at 15,000 square feet. The next highest is the smallest lot. To what extent ought we to be looking at the land as a significant matter here, or is it really purely the house itself?
So having a larger lot would certainly have an effect. You can see, because of the orientation of the comparable properties and how they're kind of on bends or curves or bays, you can see why some of them would be larger or smaller. You can see comparable number 4 is kind of a pie-shaped lot on Borealis there, and comparable 1 is more of a skinny rectangular lot. I would say that there is certainly value to be attributed to those. I think it's somewhat reflected in the sale prices that are shown.
And yet it is the smallest one that has the second highest dollars per square foot. Can you tell me about the influence of size in that calculation?
So there would have to be other things, other characteristics about the home to make up for that. I can tell you that this comparable 45 East Plains is an Artista home, which I believe the subject property is as well. So it's the exact same builder. It comes with a fully finished basement, 2 fireplaces. It's a similar walkout. It's a really nice style home. Other than that, I can't comment too much on it. It looks very well built. Most of these homes are all fairly well built.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll turn to the applicant. Could you give us your information, please?
I'm sorry, could you give me what? You asked for?
The information that you want us to consider.
The reason I'm here is because when I looked at my neighbors, the houses on my street, my neighbors have massive homes with massive yards, and the assessed value is much less than mine. Like I started seeing this information, it's eye-opening, but it's interesting how I can be paying so much more in taxes when my neighbors' homes are much greater in size and property size than mine. That's why I'm sitting here.
And do you have sale value for those ones that you are referring to? Because we cannot look at the assessed values.
All I have is assessed value because they haven't sold. Every one of my neighbors has been on that street since the beginning. They haven't sold, so I don't have sale prices.
I see. Okay. Do you have other information that you want us to consider?
Well, I can comment on the one house that you were mentioning, the Artista home. I believe that was a show home, and it was fully finished from top to bottom, walkout basement and professional landscaping, which I know makes a big difference. My home is none of that. We didn't have the finished basement, even though I believe in our listing it says there's a finished basement. All of our landscaping was done by hand, so it shows a little different, which is probably why that's so expensive, that one.
Mr. Cupper, do you have questions?
You're saying, was the basement finished when you purchased the home or not?
When I purchased the home, it listed as finished, but it was finished, like there was drywall up. I don't know how to say this politically correct. It was done by hand by somebody that should have never finished a basement. I would classify it as unfinished because it's very, very poor.
Okay. And what's the condition of the basement now?
Upgraded, but nothing like the Artista home that we're talking about with the $385 price per square foot.
Okay. You're aware your home is also an Artista home. It just may not have been a show home.
Yeah, exactly. It was beside the show homes, which and the people that built the house, they took it over and they had their trades do all the work, which were friends and family. I wish I knew that before we said we bought the house, because we're in the middle of redoing everything.
No other questions. Thank you.
Mr. Nanjal, do you have questions?
So in reference to the basement, it says you were saying that it wasn't done professionally. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
The walls were bowing. The doors don't close. The one room listed as a bedroom is ice cold because the outside weather comes inside. You touch the wall and it moves. The ceiling falls apart. They put tile ceilings in that just fall out every once in a while. Kind of scares you. And it said finished, but they basically turned, I guess, about probably 40% of the basement was a big gym area. So it was just the perimeter walls that had drywall in it with nails popping. The typical, somebody doesn't know how to drywall and tape properly. You can see the taping behind the paint. It's almost like they didn't use a primer. Very, very, almost joking, the craftsmanship.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
And neither do I. So thank you very much for appearing. We will arrive at a decision, and then you will receive an order in the mail as quickly as we can send it out.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
We have one more. Our German.